name's Yvette Rowland, and normally I interview one-to-one, but we figured we'd have a spin-off where we get to talk to a few ladies about any subject we want. So I thought we would kick off, ladies, with Prince Philip. So, Benita, I don't like that look on your face.
You sure you want my opinions on that?
Yes, I just want
Okay, I'll give you my opinions. It probably won't be popular.
Go on then.
I don't like them.
Right.
I think they're a waste of money. I did used to like them when I was little, before I was too educated, shall we say.
Right.
When I believed in the fairy stories of princesses and queens and all that. However, as I've got older, I've seen them for what they are. And it really annoys me when the Queen's sitting there with enough gold around her to save poverty the world over, and then she's telling us that we need to look after people and we need to give to charity or we need to do this and that. And it's like, well, actually, you could solve it in one hit.
So what would you do with them then? If we didn't have them, where would we put them?
Well,
Do they go abroad?
Where do you think?
yeah. Well, I suppose I didn't really have much to do with the royal family. I think when Diana came along,
Yeah.
I really liked her. I thought she was really genuine, and I was and I think that's when I really enjoyed the royal family. Not so much the Queen and Prince Philip and that, but sort of Diana more so.
Right.
And then obviously when the boys have grown up, and I like the fairy tale of William and Kate, and then obviously Harry, and I also like Meghan. So, and I think that, to be honest, I think Harry and Meghan, I think, were the ones that were more popular. I think that when they went off to Australia, I think that was like a of Charles and Diana.
Right.
That's what I thought anyway.
Right.
And when it came back, everything changed. They seemed to be a bit frosty. So I actually, and then after that, and they've gone over to like America. I don't know. I just don't seem to like, any of them now. Prince Philip, and also I didn't really like the fact of Prince Charles going with Camilla. I thought that was a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, everyone's, got a life and that, but I kind of think that was the whole, right the way through Charles and Diana's marriage. And then, she might be a really nice lady, but I kind of went away from that. So, no, it don't interest me.
No.
Royalty at all.
So I wonder, am I on my own here? Am I on my own here? I don't now you see, I'm sort of in the middle here, because I can step back and I can see both sides, but I feel like I have an emotional attachment to the Queen that has no basis in anything at all. So really, that's like the child in me. That's almost, she reminds me maybe of my childhood, of my mother who's sadly passed, my grandmother. I think it's kind of like a link to a past time. What I would say, and I saw something on the news, and I remember there's a moment where the Queen has gone up the stairs, ready to go into the chapel at Windsor, and she does that turnaround and that last look as the coffin goes past. And I found myself, I wasn't interested, but I had a lump in my throat for her, because I guess I saw an old lady who had been with somebody for so long, and just this little old lady on her own. So I do know it's an emotional attachment, but I also think in these times, I think that people seem to need, because we don't know where we're heading, we don't know what is going on, there is no stability, because there's no financial stability for anybody. We are now it is the most ridiculous thing, our freedoms have been taken away, and bit by bit we're kind of with a carrot saying, you can have them back, although I have to say personally, I never gave mine away to get back, is what I'd say. So I can see where, in a way, people almost need them more, because there is a stability and there is a calmness. I didn't like seeing them in the masks. I liked the fact that they walked behind the coffin because they're in the fresh air without their masks. I didn't think it was necessary for a lady in her 90s to be wearing a mask, sat on her own in a church, where, my God, at that age, you need to be able to breathe. More
Every
than
molecule.
exactly. Your lungs need every bit of breath you can get. So I didn't know if they were doing that as a virtue signal for how it should be. So I didn't like that. That made me uncomfortable because it was unnecessary.
I see that as a bit of propaganda.
I don't need that signal, and she certainly doesn't need that signal.
Definitely, like you say, from I think when we was probably younger, I do think that families were more into the royals.
Yeah, definitely,
like because they did do a lot for for the country and
it wasn't that long ago, was it? If you think about it, with the fire. Do you remember they were first in before Theresa May when the tower block, the inferno of the tower block? Do you remember?
Oh, Grenfell.
They were down there before anybody because,
really?
And I think they were straight down there, and I think what they felt was that Theresa May was so disliked that if she'd have gone down there, she'd have, so the royal family went down there. So like I say, we're not really coming to any decision at all, are we here? I think that everybody comes at it from a different angle, but I absolutely can see both points. So
no, I don't. I think they've got a right to live and the same as everyone else. No, I don't mean it in that way. I mean live the same as like everyone else. They're human. They're the same as us.
Yeah. So we've established that Em believes they have a right to live. I'm so pleased about that.
Yeah, me too.
The French Revolution.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Thank goodness for that. So I don't have to apologise if you're watching this. But we do feel that, and I feel that the absolute continuity when life at the moment is all over the shop. But I do take your point, Benita. I'm uncomfortable with the amount of money. And let's face it, it's not earned, it's born into. So it's not like you've got, I'm all for people who've earned money. So I guess
absolutely,
we have very different opinions, but I don't think I'd want it to be France yet, is all I'm saying. But I know Benita would, wouldn't you, Benita?
Oh, I don't want to go off with the heads.
No,
I don't want any violence involved.
No.
I don't like violence.
But maybe to their country retreat or something like that.
Just stop taking
Go
money.
and retire.
Do some good with your money.
Do
some good, help poverty. We have people who are homeless on our streets. We shouldn't have that at the moment.
Definitely not.
And the Queen could open up one palace and I'm sure they'd all fit in one. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we need to step back and see things from a human point of view. Why should one human have all these millions of houses or whatever she's got and someone else is on the street? Very often veterans that have gone to fight for her and haven't been looked after when they've come back. I feel the injustice.
Yes, and you're right, and I think veterans, and that's a really powerful conversation, veterans, because that makes me so upset. We send them out there, don't we? Often they don't even have the uniforms, they don't have the shoes, they don't have the clothing, and yet we expect them to come back into society, and then it's off you go, lads. And let's face it, most of us couldn't deal with what they have seen. And be able just to, and then we wonder why, and I agree, there's more than enough money, but yet they are closing, aren't they? They are closing some of the hospitals that the veterans are on waiting lists to be seen, and that does make you very, very uncomfortable because we owe them a duty of care.
Absolutely.
And if they
turn people into killing machines, then what does that do to their psyche? When they're not, because most of us aren't adapted to kill people. You've got to be on the psychopathic scale to do that. So when they take normal people, make them go and kill people, and then expect them just to slot back into real life.
They can't go back into just normal
they
life,
can't.
can they?
And you often have got lads and women too that are coming from places where they don't have a family or a belonging,
That's
and they can go straight in there, can't they? And then that becomes their family.
Yeah. That's it.
And then that's
And then they've lost
And
it.
then they're
as well.
abandoned.
They lost that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that makes me, I agree with that, that makes me very uncomfortable. And homelessness, I mean, I know that when the COVID first started, the fear factor, it was very much everybody off the streets, protect them. But then where did that go? That seemed to disappear as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
First of all,
because they were all put into hotels,
That's
wasn't
right,
they?
yeah. What happened?
Yeah.
Where are they now?
They're back on the streets.
Back on the streets.
Oh, really?
They didn't go back. They didn't have homes the second time, did they?
So again, what changed? Because if the narrative is still the same, why have we changed the way we're looking after our homeless?
Yeah.
So I think we owe them. It's amazing we've gone from the Queen there straight to that. But
well, it was the extremes.
Well, it
The
is.
super rich and homeless.
And also during these times as well, we're making more billionaires.
Yeah. Oh God, they're doing really well.
They're doing really well. But you know, I've been to London a few times, and the palace looks like, and this is right at the beginning. The palace to me looks like they moved out.
Yeah, it does look empty.
It's boarded up.
Empty.
It's boarded up, and there are signs off of it. It looks very. I don't know. There's something different.
Something not right.
Now I know that they are. You know, they're having a lot of work done on the palace. I appreciate that. But I don't know. It's a big place. But again, it's still
all in the same part, because the front part's been boarded up for how long?
A long time.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen that, so.
And I was there a few weeks ago. I'm trying to remember actually how it looked. And I was there a few weeks ago down the Mall, and again, very empty. It feels very sad. I don't know, there's almost an air about it.
Yeah.
And I don't really know where that comes from.
Did they not go to their...
Windsor.
Yeah. Did they not go there at Christmas? I thought they stayed up there.
Did they get Sandringham at Christmas?
Oh, no, that's right,
yes.
That's
but
right,
they've just been gone from the palace for almost a year or so.
Yeah.
And also the, what do you call them? Not the beefeaters, they've changed.
Yes, they have.
They haven't got them there, and I've never known that.
Oh, didn't you?
I've never known a time when
they're not there.
Oh, sorry,
what do you call them?
No, not beefeaters.
That's
the tower. That's the tower.
That's the tower. Yeah. No, they haven't, because it's been closed,
the
hasn't it?
The bearskin hats.
Yeah.
I can't think what they're
Yeah,
called.
they're beefeaters, aren't they?
But the beefeaters are the ones with the flat hats that guard the crown jewels.
Honestly, it's like the blind leading the blind.
I know, I can't think what they're called. Red suits, they look ever so attractive.
They're not there.
Yeah. No.
No, they're not there, and no one, I mean, we know the
they're
press
not there
are
at the
telling
palace.
us.
Sorry, they're not there at the palace, but they are there when you go nearer Downing Street. Where you've got the horses, they're there. Because,
but why are they not at the palace, and why has the press not told us anything about that?
I don't know.
And as far as I remember, there was Gurkhas there or something. I've never known the Gurkhas to guard Buckingham Palace. They just, because the press are just not telling us
What's that?
what we need to know.
When was the last time you were there?
Oh, I can't remember.
No.
I haven't been there, so not.
You might have been on one of the marches last year.
Right. We'll just move from that, won't we, swiftly on. Okay, so to wrap this all up now, is there not one tiny shred of for the Queen? She's an old lady, she's gone through the war, she's given her service. In fact, 4 days after Philip, we know, passed away, she was out there working for the country.
There is. There is. I mean, as a person, yes.
Okay.
God, I'd have a heart of steel, wouldn't I, if I couldn't feel for
We were concerned for
a
her.
human.
Yeah.
As a person,
Yes.
yes. I mean, she's lost her partner, she's an old lady. Yeah, of course. I mean, like if I saw any widow at a funeral, I would feel for them.
Sure.
It's her position.
Okay. So it's not a personal, is it?
No, I don't know her, so
Yeah.
I'm sure if I met her, she's lovely. I've always heard she's a very lovely woman, but it's the establishment.
Yeah.
It's the establishment
But
I
you're
don't
not
like.
fair enough, yeah.
But the individuals, I mean, there's a few individuals in royals I don't like.
Okay.
But
the Queen is not one of them.
the Queen is not one of them.
Okay,
no.
okay. I just wanted to show
Yeah,
you.
no, the Queen's not. And I quite like Harry and
Yeah.
William, and I like Meghan as well. I think she seems very nice.
And Anne, what do you think then?
No, she's right. Yeah, Bonnie's right. I mean, like I say, she's an elderly lady now. I think she should retire now. She's done her duty to the country and she should retire.
But you see, I don't. She's
I don't think she will, but she should, and then maybe William should take over.
We couldn't just leave it on a just a note of we just had to get that in, didn't we?
Or maybe Charles.
Okay.
Whatever.
Wow. Anyway.
Yeah, no, she should retire now and enjoy. Have a little bit of enjoyment.
Okay.
With her grandchildren and that. Yeah.
Right, well, I know that might be a very bizarre segue. I wanted to talk about the afterlife. I don't know.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Prince Philip might know
Well,
about that
exactly.
now.
Something seems like a strange segue in. But sort of, do you... Right, okay. Do you believe in the afterlife?
Definitely.
Benita, do you believe in the afterlife?
It's a really tricky one to say yes or no. I'm open-minded to most things, especially if I don't know. Just because I don't know it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Because what is it they say? The mind, if it's like a parachute is no good closed like a mind. It's of no use to anybody. So now I'd say I have a little story. I'll keep it as quick as I can here. My father passed away. I did not know my father had passed away. Now, my father and I had been very close, and anyway, something happened and we weren't close anymore. I went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night, tears streaming down my face. I dreamt that I was in my childhood home. I was sat at the breakfast bar, just like we are now. My father sat beside me, and I said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I've come to say goodbye." Now, we weren't talking in life.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I really don't want you here, for what you've done, and I wish you'd go away." And he said, "No, Yvette, you're not understanding me. I have had to come and say, I have to leave now, and I have come to say goodbye." And I said, "Well, I am not interested," gave him a piece of my mind, woke up in tears. I'd never done that before, never done it since, went to the bathroom, I had a splash cold water on my face. Now, what I didn't know was that my father's funeral was the next day. Big funeral in Essex, 100 odd people going, and I didn't know about it. And so what I'd say is that I feel like there has to be some kind of link, because there is no way that I would have known that. And I remember getting a train to go up to see my family, to see my mother, his wife of 30 odd years, and I was on the train, and a man came up to me that in a very sharp suit, looked like my dad, came up to me as he got off the train, and he said, leant over and he went, "Good luck with everything." And I thought, oh, what a strange thing to say, and I thought, I'm going to follow that man. So as he got off at the train station, big train station, I ran to the door, looked out, there wasn't anybody there.
Oh wow.
Nobody there. So now that's I've had many others.
That's quite profound.
But
Wow.
So and for a year my father came to me every night asking me to forgive him.
Really?
Every night. And every night I said no, and he would literally fly up in the air over a bridge into go over to where there's a huge green meadow and disappear, and every night, and I think he gave up. So that's my experience of it. So
did you ever forgive him in that year? Did you ever tell him you forgave him?
No. It was, I think, 10 years before I visited his grave. Apart from the time that we buried him, we got the ashes back, and we were all so angry with him that when the vicar said at the graveyard, the graveside, right, and who is going to put, this just a small box, isn't it, Alex into the ground, we all walk forward. It was almost like I'll do it. So I believe that, and there was a time I was very sick, and I looked up, I said to Liam, I don't feel very well, went to bed, it was the afternoon, and as I got into bed, there was a figure about 7 foot, looked like a water fountain, completely beautiful, shimmering, like running water, but the shape of an angel. And I said, "You're scaring me now. please go away. And it moved all the way around to the side of the bed, and I said, no, really, you're really scaring me now, please go away. And it went like that. So they're my two big words. Anybody else?
Wow.
Yes. Well, yeah, I've had quite a few through my life, but I suppose the first, I was probably about 9, 10, and I lived next door to a graveyard.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
it literally was sort of, you know,
Yeah.
not very.
We've
anyway.
seen how these films end.
Yeah, exactly.
Put the telly on.
Yeah. So I was obviously asleep, and I remember waking up and this like buzzing around, or not buzzing, it was no noise, but it was like air going around my face, and I literally could not move, and it was like I was like pinned on the bed, and I was thinking, oh my God, and it probably wasn't for long, but it seemed like a really long time. So that was my first experience, and the thing is that I used to play in the graveyard with the stones. Goodness knows why I would never do that now, but anyway, yeah, so that was my first experience. And then when and my mum died when I was young, and when I had my daughter, my first daughter, she was only about 9 months old. I'd just moved, and all the bedroom was all painted, all new carpets, and but when I went in there to go and check on her, I sensed that my mum was in there. But I don't know why, but it kind of scared me. I think because I was younger, and it doesn't scare me so much now. I've never seen anything as such, but I've felt, and you know, like things, and obviously through my life and that. But no, that it kind of scares me a little bit. I don't like that thought of it, but I do believe in people do come back. I do believe in reincarnation, so yeah.
Funny,
yeah.
I've had a few experiences throughout my life. I believe that we're possibly on different spiritual planes, different dimensions. I think this has been talked about before.
Well, they can register it now. Scientists now are saying that they are no longer looking for sort of heaven, and they're looking at it as we're all in a different dimension. So if they can
that's
get
what I kind of feel. I kind of feel that's the case, because you know, it's like people say they can feel something or they can sense.
Yes.
And you know, my senses are often quite alert. So I've had a few sort of ghost stories, but I'll leave those. But two particular ones, my mum told me when she was young, her brother died on her 9th birthday. And she remembers he stood at the bottom of her bed in the night. And she told her mum about it. And I think sometimes when these things happen, they are so real that you do remember them for the rest of your life. And I remember my mum telling me this. She didn't know he'd died. He was 21.
Right.
And he'd got TB. And he had died that night.
Right.
And when she got up in the morning, she was, well, he can't be dead because he was standing at the bottom of my bed last night. So that's one that my mum had. And just a more personal one, when my mum actually died, I was with her, which I actually see as a privilege.
Yes, I do too.
I mean, it's a privilege to be at the birth of someone, and I think it's a privilege to be there when someone leaves as well. And I was there when my mum left this world. And it was the way she left. She was in a lot of pain, and then her face was, you know, in pain. And then all of a sudden, I didn't know, obviously, this was the moment she was going to die. This is in hindsight. But she suddenly, all the pain left her face. She actually looked 20, 30 years younger. Her eyes opened really wide. I don't think I've ever noticed how blue they were until that moment. Her eyes opened up wide, and I was sitting next to her like you are here. She was, and she suddenly looked at what would be a person's level of face standing, and her look was, it was like a pleasant surprise. If I had to put words to what she was saying, it would have been, oh, it's you. Oh, hi.
Now, you see, that could have been my grandmother's death, because you have described my grandmother's death And I remember thinking, my grandmother always had lovely blue eyes, but I remember thinking, my goodness, those eyes are piercing blue. I don't remember them being that blue. That's really
funny.
interesting. And my grandmother was in a coma and did exactly what your mother did, which she opened her eyes, she smiled, she was at peace, she had no lines on her face suddenly.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was so weird. It gave me a lot of comfort, actually.
Yeah.
Because I felt the peace and the serenity of her leaving. And her body didn't die at that point, and I saw the two separate.
Yeah.
I saw the two separate. I felt that my mother had gone, and at this point her body started to shut down.
Right.
So she wasn't clinically dead at that point, if that's what you call it.
But the soul, you felt
But
the soul
I
had
literally
gone.
felt she had left, and I know that. It's not a knowledge medically or whatever, it's a knowledge here.
Yeah.
She had left, and then her body started to shut down, and that's when the doctors came in and all that stuff happened. But I have quite a profound feeling about that.
Now, I know, Benita, you have a ghost story, something to do with Harry Potter. So
I do.
Yes, would you like to share?
Okay, I'll share. I'll try and be quick as I can.
Right.
So years ago, Sam was about 11, and he was playing, not the real Harry Potter, but he was playing Harry Potter in J.K. Rowling's life story.
Right.
It was called Harry Potter and Me or something like that. And we were filming in various places. It was fantastic. I love it. We filmed at Oxford University. And we were allowed on the roof, and he was allowed to walk on the grass, which apparently is
ghost
a
story.
no-no.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were filming in this priory. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. It was in Sussex, I think.
Right.
And it was one of the most haunted priories or whatever in the UK. And it was, the monks used to live there.
Right.
It was closed to the public. It was never open to the public. But they had National Trust people that lived there.
Yeah.
And so this couple just lived there. And we went down there filming, the whole film crew. And the owl was there, and all this stuff from Harry Potter were there. Anyway, I was talking to the guy who had moved in there, and he said, we haven't been here that long. He said, we've only been here about 6 months. He said, we took over from the other guy who was the warden. I mean, the place was amazing. It had a moat, and it had this beautiful priory and everything. Anyway, he said, when we took it over, the guy said to us, look, that they will mess you about. And he said, who? He said, well, the ghosts. They will mess you about. But what you have to do is, they'll mess about with the electrics probably first. He said, just tell them, stop it, please. Please don't do this to me. And he said, at that point, we thought, oh, he's really lost it, hasn't he? He really needs to go. He's been here too long. So then he said, the first night they moved in, the electrics started, the lights started going. It was him and I think his girlfriend. I don't even know if they were married. And he said, so we did. We told them to stop, and they did. He said, then the next night, or a couple of nights, maybe a week or so later, he said, in the night we could hear this big piece of furniture being moved. And we were like, what the hell's going on? He said, when we got up in the morning, it was like one of those huge old oak dressers, and it was in the middle of the floor.
Oh my God.
And he said, we couldn't even move back. He said, the two of us, it was too heavy, so that was another thing. And then he said about his wife was ill one day, and when he came home, she'd been in bed with flu or whatever, and as he came up the stairs, this monk figure flew past him down the stairs. And when he went into her room...
This is for sale sign, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and she said, I think they were probably regretting they took the job on then. She said she was laying there, and she was like, oh my God. And apparently she'd seen the monk had come in there, and he was waving lavender over her face. Then he told us the story about what the place was, and the place was an orphanage for sick children. It was a hospice rather, not an orphanage.
Right.
It was a hospice for sick children, and the monks used to look after the sick children, and they had a huge natural herb garden out the back.
Right.
And of course lavender is a healing
Yes, that's
herb
right. Yeah.
or plant, whatever it is. So that's what the monk was doing. He was trying to heal her, which is what he'd always done.
Yeah.
Now, what he told us about the building, you had the priory here, and then you had the main staircase and the main property here, and you had this wing here. This is important. It might sound boring, but this wing here.
Right.
This top part was the children's dormitory.
Right.
So this whole part used to be where the children died, basically.
Okay.
That wing was shut. So
Right.
that part was completely shut, locked, boarded off, not used. Underneath was the kitchen and the toilets, and that's the bit we were using, the film crew
Right.
and everything then. So as we were going, obviously I had a long drive back, so I was like, I just need the loo. So I've shot along there to the loo. Now, most of the film crew had gone by now,
Right.
so we were kind of the last to leave. So there weren't many people left. So I've gone to the loo and I'm sitting on the loo, and I've heard above me. And do you know what, to start with, it didn't even register.
Right.
It was just Kitty's footsteps
Yes,
running
yeah,
across the floor above me. And it didn't register to start with. And then Kitty's footsteps came back again. And suddenly I thought, that's shut. That wing's closed. I've never got up off a toilet so fast in my life.
Or stayed on a toilet.
Or stayed on a toilet. Yeah.
Extra toilet rubbing.
Lucky I was probably there. I was like, oh my God. And I suddenly realised I've just heard ghosts, because the only child that was filming that day was Sam.
So there's nothing
And he was up there, and he wasn't in the loo or anything, and he certainly wasn't in that part upstairs because it was shut off.
Yeah.
And I just went back.
Oh,
and
you know, even as you're saying that.
I was talking to the director at the time, Alison, and I just told them what happened, and literally they were like, oh my God, yeah. And the guy went, yeah, they're always running about up there.
But
yeah,
are they now? You see, this is interesting because you're going back to, you know, some people believe they're stuck. Some people believe a building has a memory, so it's just replaying a memory. But having said that, I remember showing my partner an old pub. We went back to the northeast, and I said, "Oh, that's where my grandmother used to do all her bingo in that, you know." And we just went along the riverbank. And there's nothing there, and the pub was boarded up. And as we walked along, just in silence along the riverbank, I saw this lady. It was like a Catherine Cookson novel, in an old knitted shawl type thing, black shawl. But I saw lots of ladies bent over and getting things out of the water, like they were fishing. But they had big sacks, and they were putting things in the sacks. And I watched this scene like out of a film. And then I turned around and I said, "Did you just see that?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "What did you see?" He said, "I saw women bent over." I said, "What were they wearing?" He described the same thing. Now, is it a tearing time? Is it that you have access to that other world that's going on over there? I mean, I don't know, but just like it was very, very strange.
Yeah, I've never seen anything. No, definitely not ever seen anything. That would scare me. But I think you have to be open-minded, don't you? I think and I think if you're scared, I think your mind shuts down.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that if you're fearful of something, your mind shuts down.
Yeah.
So, and I don't like things like that.
No. Well, it didn't. It was like I was watching a scene.
Yeah.
But then I remember being in Cyprus, and we stopped off once, and it said there's something of interest here, and it was literally just a load of sand. And then just looking at it, thinking, well, what are we supposed to be looking at? And then I could hear this crowd cheering, and you're like on a side of a hill or something in Cyprus. And I said, "Did you hear that?" And again he said, "Yeah, I heard that." I said, "Did you hear people cheering?" Anyway, as we turned away, we went, "Well, there's nothing here." There was a sign that said, "This is the site where the first Olympic Games was held." Which would have probably at that time been 20 people, I don't know. But we heard the cheer before we knew what, because we were like, "Nothing to see here, folks, keep walking."
Excellent.
So you just don't know, do you?
We don't know. I think when you have these experiences, it doesn't answer anything.
No.
It just gives you more questions.
More questions.
Yeah.
And then wasn't there that submarine in America? Didn't they have a test where they wanted people, they wanted scientists to help them go through different levels, didn't they? Did you not hear of that, Tess?
No, I don't know
And
that.
they had a submarine. It's a famous case because the one guy, they managed to bring him back alive, one of the scientists.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
So they took it to apparently a different dimension.
Like time travel.
Yeah, and then they
Oh.
lost it.
Oh.
They lost it and they couldn't bring it back. And so they were all scrambling.
the whole submarine?
The whole submarine.
Oh,
And they
wow.
were scrambling to get this back with, may I say, life on it. And
Oh
when they
my God.
brought it back, some of the men had died. Some had gone mad. They'd gone insane.
Yes, I
And
think
some had become
Yeah.
part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some had become part of the furniture. They had merged
Yes.
into the furniture.
I think I
Oh.
vaguely
Yeah.
remember something, because wasn't there a plane as well? A plane that had taken off from this airport, and a full plane,
Yeah.
and it completely disappeared, and it landed back there 40 years later, because obviously when they're
Yes.
the what are they the
Dimension.
air traffic control,
Oh, yeah.
asked, because they say they're whoever it is, because
Yeah.
it just appeared on their
Really?
radar.
That sounds like Lost. The TV. What was the TV show?
Yes.
Was it Lost?
Yeah, like Lost.
Maybe it was based
Well, it
on a
actually
real
did
thing.
come in. Well, it came in to land, and they said it was whatever plane it was.
Right.
It landed, and they thought, God, what was that? And they said what it was and what time they'd left. Well, obviously it was a famous flight that disappeared, and it landed, but then it took off again. It was never seen again. That is crazy, isn't
That
it?
is, well, that is.
I actually did watch that not long
Right.
ago.
Oh,
Actually,
I've
that was only a
seen
few
that.
weeks ago. I watched that and I
Right.
thought,
Oh,
my
really?
God, yeah, I'll have to dig it out.
Dig it out and send it
I
to me.
will
I
do,
need to
yeah.
watch that.
Yeah, that was
and I
just
want to know about the
incredible.
submarine
Well,
thingy.
this one man came back. They'd found a man, I think a scientist in India, and again, I probably my facts are wrong, but they brought him back. He wanted to go on this because his mother had died, and really it was just him and his mum. And he was so angry when he came back because he said he'd met his mother.
Oh,
So he was furious that they brought him back.
Oh, really?
But for
Oh,
them,
wow.
it was a flash of light. It was like the light was really bright. It was like a few seconds, but in actual fact, it was a long period of time.
Yeah.
And they believe it, like with the Bermuda Triangle, that because they're
That's
doing all
right,
these
yes.
tests of dimensions,
Yeah.
that's where
Is that
why.
what- That's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
about there. There's
knows?
so much going on that we don't know.
Fascinating. Okay, so now to something very shallow. Shopping.
no,
You don't shop.
no, I do actually. Yeah, but I'm not going to be standing in any queues.
Did you not go out when Boris said, "Hey, you can go shopping again"? Did you not want to queue at 6 in the morning?
No.
No. If Boris tells
Definitely
me
not.
to do something, I'm going to do the
The
opposite.
opposite. Okay. Have you found then that your shopping habits have changed? I mean, do you shop online now more?
I did at the beginning,
Right.
but I've not. To be honest, no, I don't shop so much now.
Right.
So it saved me some money.
Yeah, I don't
that's
shop
the
as much.
thing.
Yeah.
isn't
I'm
it?
trying
Yeah.
to use small individual businesses
Yeah.
where I can
Yeah.
because I don't
Yeah.
want to support the corporates.
Yeah, the big boys, which
they're
are
making
a
money hand
fortune.
over fist, and
Yeah.
people. I don't think people are even realising,
No.
you know, that they're just lining their pockets. So I pay more in the smaller local shops, but
Yeah.
I would prefer to do that. I know I'm maybe in a better position than most. I can afford to do that. I wouldn't want to because I'm not stupid with money, but
Yeah, but it is that it
but
feels
to me,
wrong, doesn't it?
yeah, it feels wrong constantly. I won't go back to. I can't bear. Oh, I'm not allowed to say that, am I? I can't bear one certain supermarket.
Right, you won't be going back. Yes, I know the one you mean. Yes.
Yeah.
I won't be going back there.
Me neither.
No,
Definitely not.
it's funny that, and I think
Yeah.
quite a few people have have done the same thing.
100%.
I think the only thing is you just vote with your feet, with your
Yeah,
wallet.
yeah.
But the idea, honestly, I mean, I know we were all staffed for something to do, but the idea of queuing at 6 in the morning to get a
Yeah.
look, I mean,
What is wrong with
I
these
don't think
people?
I actually did ever queue, to be honest.
no.
I don't think I ever queued. I might have queued a couple of times, but I would not go and do a weekly. I mean, when I was told what I could actually buy and what I couldn't buy, I thought, no, that's it.
That was
it for me. And I thought,
Yeah.
and then I was told I can buy what I want to buy at Christmas. I thought, no, thank you. I won't be coming here. And that was it. Yeah.
There's something very odd.
Yes.
What is deemed essential and what is deemed unessential? Well, what is essential to one person is unessential.
Yeah. Of course.
That's like saying an essential worker, an unessential. I'm
That's
sorry.
right, exactly.
If you pay your mortgage, you're essential too, isn't it?
Exactly,
You know.
exactly.
How dare they tell us
Exactly.
what is essential?
It's funny how the old roads lead back to
I mean, for women, you know, sanitary protection's essential, but for men, it's not.
No, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember a father saying that he had a son, I think, who was autistic, and he got up and he had to get sheets for his son. He got told when he went to the supermarket that is not essential. Now that was essential to that man, as a new mattress was essential. But who decides that you can't buy sheets, but you can buy? I mean, I've never known. So I think for a lot of us, it's actually turned us off shopping, hasn't it?
Oh,
definitely, definitely. But there was one. There was, I think that was in Wales actually. A guy went shopping, and he only had his underpants on.
Oh yeah.
So when the security bloke said, "Well, no, you haven't got." You know, you can't come in, you've got no clothes on. He said, well, clothes are not essential, are they? Wasn't it? Yeah, so there you go. Yes, right. Yeah, well, they are essential, aren't they? Because people grow out of clothes. What about children?
Children grow,
exactly, yeah.
And the fact that the big stores were apparently allowed, not in Wales, apparently in Britain, big stores were allowed to sell children's shoes, but the small private business, oh no, not allowed to open a shoe shop.
To be honest.
Well, it just,
you know,
it smacks of corporate control.
We've got a lovely shoe shop for children in our high street. And it's great because the measuring and everything like that. Now my daughter's got really slim, long feet, and it's the only place that we can go to. So she was literally when school was opening, and she said, "Oh, my shoes are too tight." I couldn't get in to the shop because they had a waiting list when they were open of all the people that hadn't been allowed to go and see them. They were desperate for new school shoes. You know, so and this lady, you know, she does the most amazing job. But like you say, the small independent retail shut.
Yeah.
And that's the thing as well, wasn't it? That obviously the they were allowed to sell everything, wasn't they? Like all the big, and then the little shops weren't allowed to.
But and they were selling the same thing.
They were, yes.
Right, so I'm going to wrap this up by saying, sorry to interrupt there, but I'm just thinking, I'm just going to give a last opportunity to see if you've changed your mind about the royal family. So,
no, same.
Still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
Can't change your mind,
No. Just she can retire now, and use her money wisely.
Yes, that's right. England. Yes.
No, I haven't changed my position. No. I mean, I don't want to cut their heads off.
No, that's too extreme.
No,
so we're exactly in the same position that we were at the start.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, ladies, for joining us. We'll see you again soon. And just remember, any hate mail, anything like that,
no.
over there.
No, please no hate mail. I mean, just because I don't like the royal family, you know.
I'm just kidding. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.